but I thought, keeping the time-honored tradition of launching a book, that I could read a chapter from it, maybe 2 quick chapters that shouldn't take us more than 10 to 12 minutes. So this is the title, the first chapter. Thank you. This is the first chapter called Home, Sweet Home. Have you ever unlocked the main door and entered your home after a vacation of 2 or 4 weeks? You are greeted by the smell of a closed home, a sweet smell of dust. You throw yourself on the couch and you let out a big sigh. You say, home, sweet home. No matter how beautiful the vacation might be, after a while you start missing home. You want to get back to a familiar setting. Your home may not be the plushest. It may not have the luxury of room service and housekeeping, and yet you feel most comfortable in your own home. There is a natural ease, a sense of belonging, a different sort of freedom. It beats the luxuries of the 5-star hotels. Although Ritz-Carlton is pretty good. That's not in the book. The same goes for our soul as well. Our body is not its permanent home. Our individual consciousness is eternally trying to merge in the supreme consciousness. It wants to go home. It may not be an eloquent orator to tell you so clearly, but that's what it wants to do. Because we are beings of immense freedom and infinite potential. And here we are, caught up in the petty tendencies and desires of our mind and body. The soul wants to go back to its source. This is the most fundamental law of nature, of creation and destruction. That is, everything must return to its source. Our body may be temporary, our minds conditioned, our consciousness a weary traveler, but our soul knows where it belongs. That's why every person at some point of time in their lives is forced to think about the meaning of their life. Everyone who's experienced even a minute of fulfillment embarks on a journey greater than their individual existence. That journey could be the path of Einstein or the passion of Christ. It could be the path of Buddha or the moksha of Vedas. We may have forgotten our true nature, but our soul, eternal and unblemished, wants to go home. Until you show it the way, the restless in life will not go away. No pleasure or relationship can offer you permanent fulfillment because we are all on a vacation and we are missing home. Meditation is going home. It is going back to your source, where you belong, so that you're no longer what people tell you who you are, or what the world has made you to believe, or even what you think of yourself. Instead, it is to discover yourself, to get to your primal source from where bliss, happiness, and joy flow constantly. It is to discover your original home without the furniture of jealousy, covetousness, envy, hatred, and so on. A home with no walls of ego and anger. A place where your soul rests in peace. Where consciousness flows unimpeded like the gentle Ganges murmuring on a sunny day. Let me take you home. It's a long walk. The path is arduous, but it's worth every step. You will discover that happiness is not a pursuit. It's a feeling. It's a state of mind. On your way home, you'll find that freedom is not a quest. It's a state. You will understand that even the best resort can't be your home. For, as Shiva, the foremost yogi, said, things are not what they seem, O goddess, for this world is like a dream. When you get home, you will realize that your room of bliss has always been there. It's your home, after all. So that was the first chapter, the introduction. Can I read one more? Okay. I was just being courteous, actually. It was a rhetorical question. Had you said no, I think I would have still read it. I'm just joking. So this chapter is what is meditation. I'm not reading any of the stories or any other bits. I'm getting straight to the crux of the matter, because you are here today from far and distant places, and you've even coming through Bangalore traffic. It's more difficult than meditation, I think. So you deserve some real nuggets of wisdom, which is what this book is about. The chapter is what is meditation. Many years ago, there was a widely reported incident in the news that a guard at the Guantanamo Bay military prison in Cuba allegedly flushed a detainee's holy book down the toilet. This had become a raging news item, and numerous talk shows with pseudo-experts were hosted by various TV channels worldwide. Amidst all that, a reporter in Australia phoned Ajahn Brahm, who was the abbot of Bodhinyana Monastery in Serpentine, Western Australia. The reporter was doing a feature taking statements from various religious heads. "What will you do, Ajahn Brahm?" the reporter asked, "if someone took a Buddhist book and flushed it down your toilet?" So the reporter asked, "What would you do if somebody flushed a book down your toilet?" The abbot, Ajahn Brahm that is, answered, "Sir, if someone took a Buddhist holy book and flushed it down my toilet, the first thing I would do is call a plumber." Just see the perspective, how beautiful. They shared a brief laugh before the Venerable Ajahn Brahm went on to say most beautifully, "Someone may blow up many statues of the Buddha, burn down Buddhist temples, or kill Buddhist monks and nuns. They may destroy all this, but I will never allow them to destroy Buddhism. You may flush a holy book down the toilet, but I will never let you flush forgiveness, peace, and compassion down the toilet." This is meditation, if you ask me. It is your ability to retain your virtues in the face of all adversities. This grace and presence of mind comes with correct practice of meditation. The journey of meditation has 3 important milestones. In the first stage, meditation is an act. It's something that you do. You sit down and you train your mind to behave and be a certain way. It requires discipline and determination. Once you champion the art of meditation, you get to the second stage where it becomes your second nature. A sort of effortlessness arises in your meditation, and the virtues which you had to work hard to imbibe earlier increasingly become a part of you. In the third stage, meditation becomes a state of your mind. You no longer do meditation, you are in meditation. A state of bliss that remains unperturbed under most circumstances. An altruistic sense arises naturally for the welfare of others, severing your attachments. Earlier you would serve, now you sever your attachments and bonds with all things meaningless. The final stage of meditation is liberation. Liberation from false beliefs, negativity, undesirable thoughts. It is freedom from guilt, resentment, jealousy, hatred, and pride. Meditation is the music of soul that plays on effortlessly once you tread this path. In this book, I will show you how to arrive at the final stage. However, if you wish to use meditation as a system to be calmer and more relaxed in your daily lives, it will serve you just as well. My publisher wanted this line. My job is to give you the highest ideal, and you're free to set your own goal and pick what interests you. There is the ordinary path and the extraordinary path to reach various stages in meditation. I will walk you through both. Ultimately, meditation is silence and presence of the mind. When your mind is at once silent and present, you are deep in meditation. Two ladies met after a long time. They exchanged pleasantries and the following conversation ensued. "How's your son?" one asked the other. "He's good." "Has he found a job yet?" "Nah, he's still unemployed. But he does meditation these days." "Meditation? What's that?" the other one asked. "I don't know," the first one replied, "but I guess it's better than sitting around and doing nothing." Doing nothing. Meditation is the art of doing nothing. Believe me, it's the hardest thing on the planet that I ever undertook. You don't have to do anything per se. You don't have to get anywhere. You simply have to be in the present moment. It takes a great deal of practice to teach your mind to be alert and yet do nothing. In that moment when your mind is doing nothing and you are perfectly aware of it, gushes forth the fountain of bliss, away from the burdens of the world. Meditation is not about reaching somewhere. It is not about improving according to societal definitions and beliefs. Meditation is about knowing and feeling that you are complete, perfect, whole. The struggle to be somebody, the race to be something or be like somebody ends right in that quiet moment. To reach that quiet moment, to have that mental stillness like that of a calm, placid lake, you will go through 4 inevitable stages on the path of meditation. So that was reading from the book. You can clap that. I talked about this bliss and this peace and this silence of the mind. There is silence even when you're sleeping. When you're not dreaming and you're sleeping, you're experiencing a certain silence of the mind at that time. And then there is silence which you experience in a meditative state. The two types of silences are vastly different. And we can do a little experiment here. And you can experience that silence that I talk about. But before I do that, I have 2 questions. First, who's part of the meditation retreat, the upcoming? Okay, quite a few people. And who has done this experiment with me earlier in the ashram? Okay, quite a few. Not as many. So the ones who have done it, you're unlikely to experience the same silence again, because your conscious mind will come into play now. Earlier when I did this experiment, I caught you off guard. And those of you who would be or who are going to be at the retreat, so this is one of the little things I'll do at the retreat. You'll get to experience it now, so you can cancel your seat after this if you like. So what I'll do, I am going to have you experience a tiny fraction of the bliss that lives in me. A tiny fraction of the bliss that comes from meditation. In a way that you would understand what it means to be silent with awareness. When you're silent with awareness, you are pretty much in deep bliss. All of the times you're in deep shit. So that's that's the difference. Now we will focus on the first one, bliss. So as part of this experiment, all you have to do, it's going to last a few seconds, but you will experience, at least some of you would definitely experience, deep silence of the mind. Silence with mindfulness, silence with awareness. So beginning now, all you have to do is pay attention to the increasing gap in my words. Right now, what I am exuding and what you are experiencing is thoughtlessness with mindfulness. I'll close this experiment. Who experienced silence of the mind? Okay, many. Who experienced like a sort of thoughtlessness? There were no thoughts in your mind for that tiny wee bit. Okay, so if quite a few people raise their hands, did you experience what a blissful thing it was to be silent? And that's what, this is the ultimate stage of meditation, or even the ultimate state of meditation, where you experience profound silence with complete thoughtlessness. That doesn't mean you're not thinking anything. That means you're here in the present moment. When you're here in the present moment, at that time, you become super conscious, super aware of everything that goes around you. The sounds you might have missed earlier, you would not miss if you are present in the present moment. Vartamane vartatopi sayogit mayochyate. The one who lives in the present moment is a true yogi, Kantai, Krishna says. Because mind is forever worrying about the past or making plans of the future. Some plans you would work on, but most plans are simply chattering of the mind. They have no relevance whatsoever to our daily lives. But there is one great misconception people have about meditation. And that is, people somehow believe that if you meditate, you won't have to deal with the challenges of life. Meditation is not the medicine to get rid of the irritation of life, you know, the irritation of ordinary life. That would still be there. Your wife or your husband will still drive you nuts, believe me, even if you're an expert meditator. That's why most of the sages would run away and meditate in the woods. So those things would not go away. But what happens before and after meditation is something significant and noticeable. Before meditation, any thought or emotion overpowers you completely, very quickly. If you have a negative thought, it's very hard to let go and you will keep on brooding over it, it would become an emotion, and your day is ruined, and your state of mind is ruined, and life looks like hell. But when you are an expert meditator, at that time your thoughts cannot overpower you. A thought would come, and with your mindfulness, you would be able to drop that thought. Say, look, this is a thought. If I don't drop a thought, then one of the three things will happen to that thought. A, it would become a desire. If I want to have, let's say, a laddu, and the thought of laddu comes to my mind, if at that moment I drop the thought, good, laddu will disappear. But if I can't drop the thought of laddu at that time, then laddu will keep coming back to my mind. I'll say, no, I have to taste laddu. Would I like the one made from this type or that type, this flour or that flour, and so on. And then, if I know somebody who offered me a laddu the last time, I would go to his or her place and have that expectation, that desire would become the expectation, and I would think, I've got to be offered a laddu again one more time. Those desires that you feel that I have the right to see them fulfilled, they are expectations. And when thoughts, desires, and expectations become one, they give birth to what's called an emotion. No matter how angry or how sad you feel, before you get to that feeling, a lot has already happened in your head, in your mind. And that is, it has become an emotion already. And emotions are not right or wrong. Emotions are the outcome of whatever you may have thought or felt earlier, or spoken, or contemplated on. And only a meditator or somebody who's very content in his or her life can rise above emotions. At the root of all negative emotions is only one feeling. All negative emotions, whether that's hatred or jealousy or envy or covetousness or simply false pride or just any negativity that you experience in your heart and mind, at the root of it, there's only one singular emotion, and that is discontentment. When you're not content with where you are, how you are, what you are, then you want more. In that feeling of wanting more, it's very hard to be grateful. If you're not grateful, you can't be positive. And if you're not positive, then God help you, welcome to planet Earth, basically. It's hard work. If anybody told you that it's very easy to lead human life, I don't know what they were thinking. And if anybody told you that you can be happy all the time, they must be smoking pot. Because it's not possible. It is not possible for you to be happy every day of your life. It is impossible. It does not matter how enlightened you are or maybe or claim to be. But what is possible is your moments of despair, your moments of sadness will be far and few in between. Because the moment you experience that negativity, you're able to just drop it. I don't have to carry on doing this or thinking about this. And that's why meditation is one of the most reasonably logical, if not scientific, paths to realizing yourself. Ved vinashinam nityam ya enam ajamavyam pratham sapursha paktam dhatyati hantikam. Krishna says there is an essence in every single living entity. That essence never dies. It's immortal, it's eternal. It's beyond space and time. So tell me, Arjuna, what are you brooding over? What is your worry? What is your concern? Who's dying and who's killing? All of this is one big illusion. When you watch a movie, it feels very real. But it's not really real. It can make you cry, make you laugh. You watch it and you feel, oh, you're so immersed in it. Similarly, living in one's life, sometimes you're so immersed in it, it all feels very real. And in the beginning of the book, I read this thing, Shiva, the foremost yogi, said, things are not what they seem. Uma kahan main anubhav apna, sacha hari bhajan jagat sab sapna. This world may be real. I'm not saying it's absolute illusion, but it's very temporary. And the root cause of our suffering is to want that permanency. That I want that permanence in everything I do. I don't want to age. I don't want to run out of money. I don't want to run out of love. I want constant attention. I want love constantly. People who loved me 20 years ago, they should still love me as much now. All of this. This is the futile search for permanence, which is nowhere to be found, not even in meditation. That meditation is your practical route. It's your practical method to stay at peace. Because an educated mind is logical. And a lot of today's logical minds or educated minds say with pride that we don't believe in religion, we believe in spirituality. I don't know what that means though, by the way, but that's what they say. They say with pride that we don't go to temples and places of worship. I don't think anybody's missing you there, by the way, but it's a very ignorant and short-sighted view of life. When you just discount religion, that it's just bad, you just take the good stuff you can. So for the educated mind, that cannot surrender to divine will. Because the logical mind say, well, where is God? I haven't seen God. Maybe He's there, but I'm not sure. So I'm going to take an agnostic view. That maybe He's there, maybe He isn't there. I don't know. So an educated mind can't always surrender easily. If you can't surrender, you don't need meditation. Because you've surrendered to the will and you're just at peace and bliss. Not everybody who found that bliss, that God, that universal energy, meditated. If you have a purpose in life, you don't need meditation. If you are able to surrender and immerse yourself in bhakti, in devotion, you don't need meditation. But most people cannot. Or some people can only do that some of the time, not all the time. One day you're feeling up, believing there is God, and by the time sun sets, you say, where the hell is God? It's like that. Every day becomes a battle. This person said, oh God, so far today, I have not said anything bad to anybody. I have not yelled at anybody. I have not harbored feelings of hate towards anybody. I led a very good day so far. And now it's time for me to get out of bed. So please help me. This is the state of most people. But the Vedic culture was so beautiful. And you get up in the morning and you pray before even you step down. You step out of bed. You put your first foot down on the floor and you pray again. That level of mindfulness is what allowed people to stay in touch with themselves and their roots. You bathe. Before you were to bathe, you would pray. You would invite all the holy rivers in the water you were going to bathe. And then you bathe with the sense that I'm doing Abhishekam to Bhagavan. And you eat and you say grace. And then you go to work and you would go in an auspicious period, so to speak. And you would go with that mindfulness, chanting the holy names. And river is God, water is God, earth is God, sun is God, moon is God, dog is God, everybody is God. That was the original Vedic view. With that perspective, you did not need meditation because you were already in meditation. But it's when we distanced ourselves and getting deeply influenced by ever shrinking world and other cultures and ways of doing things and this fanfare, this ostentatiousness, this pompous show-off of a life most of us lead, then we need all these external methods to help us. And that's why I called the book A Million Thoughts, because every time, every day, 60,000 thoughts go through one human head. And that's a lot of thoughts. उम्र दराज मांग के लाए थे 4 दिन, 2 आरज़ू में बीत गई, 2 इंतज़ार में. I got a life of 4 days. 2 I spent desiring, hoping, expecting, wanting. And 2 I spent waiting for these things to happen. This is not the sum total of human life. And if it is, then just think about it. What a waste. What a sheer waste of a life. I'm not saying that you need to sit down and meditate and that's how a life is meaningful. But a mindless life is a reckless life, and a reckless life is a wasteful life. Doesn't matter what kind of life you lead, it has to have some kind of mindfulness in it. Some compassion, some love, some service, some devotion, some bhakti, some practical aspects of it. At least so that you can put your hand on your heart before you go to bed every night and say to yourself, today I did the best I could. This is the most important, inspiring, motivational, transformational line you can say to yourself. That today, one more day passed out of my life, that I can put my hand on my heart and promise myself and say with absolute sincerity, truth and conviction that today I did the best I could on all fronts. Whether as a mother, as a husband, as a father, as a sister, daughter, as a worker, employee, employer, as a citizen, whatever be your role, that I did the best I could. And that's all you can do. You can only do the best you can. And if there is one thing one should worry about, and that's just that. Am I doing the best I can? And then you would be a witness to your own extraordinary transformation. All you have to do is do the best you can. Doesn't matter what the endeavor. Whatever you undertake, just simply do the best you can. And you are not answerable to anybody else, other than your wives and husbands maybe. You're not answerable to anybody else. You're only answerable to yourself first and foremost. So if you can say to yourself, I did the best I could, you're on track. You can't fail. You will end up somewhere. You will get somewhere. So I won't take too much of a time. I think, where is Kumar or Karthik? Is it time for Q&A? Yes, questions and answers. So we'll do a little Q&A session.